A man is living inside the walls of a toy store. Nobody knows he's there. Every single day, employees walk right past his hiding spot, and he watches them. For 6 months, he eats, sleeps, and survives just a few feet away from people who have no idea a fugitive is hiding in the building with them. This is the true story of a man the media called Roofman. Jeffrey Manchester is a former Army reservist. He served his country. But back home, life is falling apart. He's a father and he's broke. No steady job, no real plan, and bills piling up. He loves his daughter, but love doesn't pay rent. So Jeffrey makes a decision that changes everything. He starts robbing McDonald's restaurants. But he doesn't break down the front door like a normal criminal. He climbs onto the roof, cuts a hole through it, and drops down from above, before anyone even knows he's inside. It works. Once, twice, then it becomes a pattern. He studies each restaurant's routine. When the safe gets opened, when the staff arrives, when the cash is most exposed. He's calm. He's polite. He tells employees to grab their coats before locking them in the walk-in freezer so they don't freeze. No one gets hurt. That's the strange part. A criminal who almost seems to care. But calm and careful doesn't mean invisible. Robbery after robbery, the pattern gets noticed. Investigators start connecting the break-ins. The man who never uses the door, who always comes through the roof. He gets a nickname before he even gets a name, Roofman. Therefore, after more than 40 robberies, the run ends. Jeffrey is caught, and the punishment is brutal. A sentence of 45 years behind bars. For a man who has a daughter waiting for him on the outside, that number might as well be a life sentence. But Jeffrey isn't done. Locked up, staring down decades in prison, he starts watching, studying. The same skill that let him slip through rooftops now gets turned on the prison system itself. He notices routines, gaps, blind spots, and one day, during a transport, he finds his opening and disappears, hiding beneath a prison bus to slip past the guards, completely undetected. Now he's free. But freedom, for an escaped convict with a national reputation, is its own kind of trap. Every police officer in the state is looking for the man who breaks in through roofs. So where does a fugitive like that go to disappear completely? He finds an empty, closed-down store sitting right next to a busy Toys R Us. Inside that shut-down building, hidden from view, he builds himself a secret space in the walls, close enough to slip into the toy store at night, but hidden enough that no one would ever think to look. For the next 6 months, this hollowed-out hiding spot becomes his home. At night, when the store is empty, Jeffrey moves freely, eating, exploring, studying the security cameras and the guards' patrol patterns like he once studied restaurant safes. During the day, he stays completely silent, listening to employees talk just a few feet away from where he's hiding. He learns their names, their schedules, their habits. One name comes up again and again. Lee Wainscott, a single mom of 2, recently divorced, kind to everyone she works with. But watching from the shadows isn't enough for Jeffrey. He wants more than survival. He wants a life. And that's where the plan takes its most dangerous turn. He overhears that Lee's church is running a holiday toy drive. Her manager, Mitch, refuses to donate anything, so Jeffrey steals toys from the very store he's hiding in, and shows up at Lee's church to donate them himself. It's reckless. It's exactly the kind of move that could expose him. But it works. The congregation welcomes him in, and Jeffrey gives himself a brand new identity. John Zorn, a government worker on secretive, unspecified business in town, a perfect cover for a man who can't explain his past. Therefore, the fugitive who once broke into buildings for money is now sitting in a church pew, being invited to community dinners, being introduced to Lee, and the two of them start falling for each other. For real. Jeffrey isn't faking his feelings to manipulate her. He has nothing to gain from her financially, nothing to steal. He's simply a lonely man who sees in Lee and her daughters the family life he lost. On their first date, Lee mentions something that nearly stops his heart. Her ex-husband's name was also Jeffrey. He talks his way past it. The date ends well. Their relationship deepens. But here's the impossible math of Jeffrey's new life. He is building something real on a foundation that is completely fake. Every day that passes, John Zorn gets closer to Lee's family. And every day, the real Jeffrey Manchester, escaped convict, wanted fugitive, gets closer to being discovered. Money starts running low. Living in secret isn't free, and starting a real life somewhere else with a new identity, a fake passport, a way out of the country, costs more than he has. So Jeffrey reaches out to an old friend, someone who can get him the documents and connections he needs to disappear for good. The price is steep, and there's only one place Jeffrey knows well enough to get that kind of cash fast: the store he's been secretly living inside for months. He tells himself this will be the last job. One more robbery, and then he's gone. A clean escape, a new name, a new country, freedom for real this time. But the robbery does not go as planned. In the chaos, a die pack meant to mark stolen cash goes off, injuring the manager, Mitch. And in the middle of the confusion, someone walks in that Jeffrey specifically tried to keep away from the store that day. Lee. She looks at the masked robber standing in front of her, and she knows. Not from his face. She can't see it. She knows him by his voice, by the way he moves. It's the same recognition you'd have for someone you've shared a bed with. In that instant, John Zorn disappears, and all that's left is the truth. The man she fell in love with is a criminal who has been lying to her the entire time. Therefore, everything collapses at once. Lee calls the police. Officers swarm the building, and in searching it, they find something they never expected. The hidden hollow space in the walls where Jeffrey has secretly been living for 8 months, right under the store's nose the entire time. Now Jeffrey is out of the building, out of hiding, and, for the first time in months, actually has a real path to freedom. He has cash. He has a fake identity ready to go. He has a route out of the country already arranged. All he has to do is get in the car and drive to the airport, and this story could have ended with him gone forever. But his phone rings. It's Lee. And here is the final, defining choice of Jeffrey Manchester's story. Run to the airport and vanish, or answer the call and face the woman whose trust he destroyed. He chooses to answer. He chooses her, one last time instead of his own freedom. Police close in, and Jeffrey is arrested without a fight, the same calm, non-violent surrender that defined every robbery he ever committed. So what happened to the real Roofman after that? Jeffrey Manchester goes back to prison. And even then, he isn't finished trying. He attempts to escape 2 more times unsuccessfully and remains behind bars today, with no chance at parole until 2036. Lee eventually remarries and moves on with her life, but she visits him in prison at least once after everything that happened. A quiet sign that whatever existed between them, fake identity and all, wasn't entirely a lie. In the end, Jeffrey Manchester spent years building an elaborate double life to give the people he loved a version of himself he thought they wanted: money, gifts, stability. What he never seemed to understand until it was far too late was that they never needed any of that. They just needed him, the real him. And by the time he figured that out, he'd already given up his chance to be there at all.